Hey, what's up guys? Psynaps here, and in this tutorial, I'm going to show you some behind the scenes on how I did Sensus's intro. And this is going to be a really exciting behind the scenes because I did all of it in 4K resolution. That means more pixels and higher throughput on your screen. Make sure you play this video back in 4K resolution, but beware, because playing my videos back in 4K has been known to crash some browsers. Don't say I didn't warn you. But if you have a fast computer, like many of you gamers do, then go ahead and give it a try and see if you can handle it. I'll tell you more about how I feel about 4K and why I think it's pretty cool, even though most people only have 1080 monitors. But first, let's take a look at some behind the scenes so I can show you how I did, so I can show you some of the methods that I used to make this intro come to life. So the first thing I did was I took this model out of WoW Model Viewer, so that I could export this 3D model and get it into Cinema 4D. And I rigged and I bound the model to the skeleton live on the live stream. So if you guys ever want to come check out how these edits work and see me do it in real time, check the description for the live stream. I like to interact with viewers and answer questions and stuff while I edit these live. Got the model rigged here to throw the shuriken, and check out this shuriken. This one is really cool. This is a World of Warcraft shuriken, and I kind of took it, I gave it an alpha material. That red part has some luminance to it, so it actually gives off light. And the text is really cool because it's very reflective. I used R16 with the new reflectance materials. And given that the shuriken emits a little bit of light and the surface of the text also is reflective with a little bit of blur in the reflection, it creates a really cool look. So the idea was rogues kind of can cloak and come out of the shadow, so I thought it would be really cool to have an intro for Sensus that's a little darker. And so you can see this text looks like it's very dark, it's very dimly lit, and you can see that even the illumination from the shuriken is enough to illuminate a little bit of the text. And there's definitely some backlighting going on. It's almost like there might be like a moon or some distance, something in the distance that's lighting this scene up. So how did I get this thing out in 4K? Well, basically what I did was I came into the render settings and I set this up for 4096 by 2304. And that's going to make it a little bit larger than the standard ultra high definition. It's going to give me a few more pixels to work with if I want to add a camera shake or something like that. And surprisingly, I exported this out to JPEG. If I create a 4K image sequence, the images could be very large, and JPEG looks pretty good at 4K resolution. I also exported an alpha so that I can get transparency when I bring this into After Effects. Instead of the background being black, I need the background to be clear. Because it's at 4K resolution, I didn't use much anti-aliasing here. One by one by one by one. There was a really cool effect. I don't know if you could see it in the intro, but it's where the fire kind of spread out. Like when the shuriken hit the text, there's all this energy that just radiates from the point of contact. I used the displacer to kind of like make a globular spreading effect. It turned out to look pretty cool. And then another thing I used was this kind of spreading fire effect, and I just added that material on top of the text so that that spreading fire would come through, to be spreading out from right where the shuriken hits the text. Because I used these techniques that I hadn't used before, and I think this is the first time I've used an animated material. Basically, Alpha lets you do a bunch of fun tricks, including making the background transparent or some materials more see-through. But that's not all you can do with it, and in this case, using the alpha to create depth. So yeah, that was pretty cool. Alright, in After Effects, this was a pretty big deal in After Effects because 4K resolution took my computer to its limits. So that was the only problem I saw with going into 4K resolution, but it's pretty awesome because when you zoom in, it's so clear. This is actually at 100% zoom. There's just so many pixels right there. After Effects has built-in pixel motion blur, and that's going to give it this kind of a feeling of movement for all the pixels on the screen that are moving. It's going to make it seem more blurred. and give it a smoother look. So definitely check out Pixel Motion Blur in your After Effects projects and see if you need it. So, okay, so let's talk about 4K then, and I'll at least give you my opinion about why 4K is pretty cool for YouTube. And even though not all of us have 4K monitors, when you upload a 4K video up to YouTube, it actually scales it down to your 1080 monitor, but it plays it at a higher bit rate. So it ends up looking a little smoother in the end, even for someone who only has a 1080 monitor. 4K is really quickly becoming a standard, and there's a lot of 4K TVs that are going out right now, as you guys may have noticed for the holiday season. So I think that it's, for all of those reasons, I think it's worth pushing 4K forward and at least supporting the movement and preparing yourself to edit in 4K, because maybe everything's going to be in 4K in the not too distant future. And in my project, I'm using a lot of adjustment layers. So the adjustment layers are going to have all of the effects with them, and they affect all of the layers below them. I use a lot of alpha. Like I mentioned before, I exported in JPEG with the alpha channel enabled, and that just helps me to make the background transparent. But I have to stack them up like this in After Effects and select Luma. I also used some depth of field to give that text a little blurry look in the distance. I exported a depth map in Cinema 4D to make that happen. And depth maps look like this. It's going to allow me to use this black and white gradient to create the effect of depth. And here's this really cool part where the shuriken hits the text. And After Effects is just like trying to process all this 4K resolution. So when I go here to my settings and I look at the resolution, here I selected 4K ultra high definition monitor. So it's 3840 by 2160. And I basically fit all the image sequences from Cinema 4D, and I imported them into After Effects, dropped them on the timeline, made sure and that's all there is to those settings. Let's check this one out. I used a lot of masking, and I'm going to be doing a tutorial on masking on my YouTube channel, so stay tuned for that. It allows me to select certain regions of a clip by using the pin tool. When I drag this mask, you can see the text, and if I cover it, you don't see it. So I just masked this using the pen tool. I added a little bit of feathering to it. So if you don't have any feather, it's really sharp. If you add a little bit of feather to it, kind of softens it up. So I wanted the text to look like it was kind of dipping in the smoke a little bit. And so I used masking to achieve that effect where it just kind of rolls off. With Sensus's character, to kind of blur the character into the smoke a little bit, you can see like right there's a little bit of feather to it. So it blurs right in. I used a little bit of feather on the sky as well, so that I could get that halfway down effect with the sky. I think the coolest mask that I used though was on the shuriken, where the character throws the shuriken. I duplicated Sensus's character, and I just masked out the shuriken so that I could make it look like the shuriken was being thrown. So you can actually mask out an object from the scene and then move it independently. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you learned something and you found this useful, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Please like the video. Leave in the comments what you think. I appreciate all the support. If you want to see me work on these projects live, check out the live stream. I stream almost every night, most of the time every other night. Also check out my website for some behind the scenes and exclusive downloads to project files and other goodies. I'll put that information in the description. And make sure you go check out Sensus's channel. He's doing a lot of great work on his Rogue, and he does some of the best guides on YouTube. He's been doing YouTube for a long time, so you'll notice that he does some very high quality videos, and it is an honor for me to be able to work with Sensus. I also get to play with him every once in a while on World of Warcraft, which is a lot of fun because if you go to his channel and you watch his Rogue, you'll see that he's a very skilled Rogue. Absolutely phenomenal. Make sure you go check it out on his side and tell him hello from Psynaps.